If there's anything that convinces me that there is a devil, it is not that evil exists in the world. It's not that temptations exist. It is that, bar none, most of the wealthiest countries on earth are wealthy because they have done evil things to some minority somewhere, and that's why they're wealthy. Pause. Give you an example. The French, to this day, get money from the countries they colonized. I want you to think about it. Can you imagine if Kenya was paying the UK? Oh wait, we did. Did you know in many post-colonial agreements we had to pay for the infrastructure they built? Yes, like they came, built a train, and then said, it's your bill. It's irritating. It's infuriating. Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the world. When we know, calm down, we know that when they rebelled against their colonial masters, as part of their independence negotiation, they were forced to pay for the infrastructure and the loss of business their colonial masters had suffered. Did you know? Did you know that slave owners, people who owned black people, were paid for loss of business because black people were set free? These things irritate me to no end. They piss me off. But what pisses me off most, more than anything, is the fact that for Africa, they have a different development blueprint than they did for themselves. Listen, the United States of America, why are they wealthy? They're wealthy because they decimated the Native American, the native Aboriginal Americans, who colloquially called Native Americans, because they destroyed them. They killed them by disease, gun, and wait for it, killed their source of protein. They killed off bison by the millions to starve the natives. Okay? This is how the home of the brave and the land of the free came to exist. These foreigners who live on someone else's land have the gall to chase away people who are seeking refuge. And it's irritating. It's irritating because, please do yourself a favor. I do not have time to go into this, but let me just paint a picture for you. You know the term banana republic. You know it. And you know it means a republic whose institutions don't work and the politics is all over the place. That's what it means. But do you know where it came from? Did you know that because of bananas, yes, you had me right, bananas, those yellow things that monkeys and you like, yes, those things are the reason why many countries in South America had people overthrown by the Americans and their companies, turned into banana republics. And now those banana republics, when people are dying of poverty, seeking refuge from the people who messed them up, they have the guts to build walls and set dogs against them. It is madness. The UK has in its crown jewels that they took from India and South Africa. Like how obviously ridiculous is that? That the crown itself, the museum, the British Museum is full of artifacts from China, India, and Africa. They are showing off our stuff as theirs. Just 2 days ago, they returned a lock of hair that belonged to an Ethiopian royalty 2 days ago. Why did a British person have hair for an Ethiopian? Why? Like, white people, please. White people, please. It's irritating. It's mind-bogglingly irritating. Let's not forget that they took wealth from India, from China. Do you know what they did to the Chinese? Do you know what they did to the Chinese? For example, they wanted tea. And what did they do to conquer the Chinese people? Have you heard of the heroin wars? Oh, let me tell you. They supplied heroin to China until China was on its knees because her people were addicted to heroin, supplied and freshly minted by the British government. It's not a matter of conjecture, hearsay. I'm not giving you conspiracy theories. Please Google, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but I'm telling you it's true. It's as true as Jesus hung on a cross. Thieves, the lot of them. Thieves. Japan is no different, by the way. Japan conquered South Korea, brutalized the Chinese. They may be nice and innocent and all bowy now, but the imperial Japan, no. Those guys were nasty. So we live in a world where the nasty rule. The worse you are, the better for your economy. You move into so-called Asia tigers. And what do? They're currency manipulators. They're copyright infringers. They disrespect intellectual property. They spy on us with reckless abandon. They do whatever they want. And that's why they're wealthy. And then when it comes to Africa, the script is different. Before I got there, India decided and said, you know what, we are not going to respect patents for medicine. We will copy your medicine and we'll make it. India gives us most of our medicine. Why can't we produce medicine in Africa? It is not because we don't have pharmacists or biomedicists and biochemists. We do. We train them. They graduate by their dozens. What do they become? Medical reps. Their job is glorified salespeople. In fact, the most complicated thing a pharmacist does in Kenya is decipher your doctor's handwriting. That's it. That's the issue. That the blueprint for success for UK is to rob, plunder, pillage, and literally rape people. And they are the beacons of virtue, wealth, and what we want to be. The Americans with their home of the brave, land of the free, surely. When to date, Indians are in reservations with the highest amount of obesity, highest amount of drug use, highest amount of alcohol addiction. Come on. That the only business these native people can do is own casinos. Really? But the script for Africans is different. No, the script for Africans is loans from the IMF. Increase taxes from the IMF. Pay this, pay that. You owe this, you owe that. It is not the problem of our governments that we borrow. Let me tell you, it's not. The money we are borrowing is money that was stolen from Africa for thousands of years. Literally stolen. Do you know, if you look at how the Mzungu came into Kenya, they literally stole our goats and sheep. Yes, they did. And then they tell the Kikuyu, the Luya, the Kamba, the Meru, all of us that we owe them money. And that money we owe them, no. We can't. You tell me which African country is allowed to borrow to build a factory. Why do they just want us to build schools, hospitals, and roads? Why? Simply because our schools are supposed to produce more brainless people to work for them. You doubt me? Which are the best jobs in Kenya? Aren't they jobs that are ultimately making value for the West? Don't you say he works for an international company and that's why he's wealthy? Oh yeah. Our school system is built to make people who are excellent servants. It has been like that since colonialism. It is the same to date. Let's put a bit more color and perspective into this. Infrastructure is fine. Schools are fine. Healthcare is fine. But when you build this infrastructure, build these schools, and have a healthy population, who do they work for? Hardly do Kenyans work for Kenyans. We work for the West. A lot of our companies, our economies are controlled by the West. Our tea, we work for it, it goes out. Our coffee, we work for it, it goes out. How many tea factories that are able to produce that thing you put in that coffee machine, that little cup, are in Kenya? No, none. This is the issue. The issue is that the rules for development for Africa is different from the rules by which every other nation has developed. It's an unfair field. Africans, being the nice people we are, do not want to invade different countries. In fact, if your blue movies are to be believed, it is your women who want to visit us for long snakes. The invasion by Africans is voluntary. They like it. They make movies about it. But look at the French. The West African franc is still tied to the French central bank. Why? The French still have first dibs on minerals in Western Africa. Why? Because, and this I agree with President Ruto 100%, the Bretton Woods institutions, your World Bank, your IMF, your Development Fund, all of those things are created to maintain status quo. How so? There is no country that can develop by debt if that debt does not go directly to building industry, to building jobs for the people. There's no country like that. You tell me which country has developed because it has beautiful roads. None. If we have the best hospitals and we are healthy and we are sitting at home doing nothing because there are no jobs, we are not helping this country. So yes, we need to restructure. And the restructuring that we need to do, please, Mr. President, if you hear me, don't beg those white people anymore for anything. What we need to do is tell them that for what they owe us, for what they stole from us, and what, by the way, corrupt people have hidden in their banks, including in the UK, because of what they owe us, tufanye hesabu, tukuje zero-sum game. So they can keep all the money they hide in Guernsey Island and in Jersey Island, and they pretend, oh, we are the British, we do not do corruption. Yet, half of the money stolen in Africa is hidden by you guys. You think we don't know? So when you rob us and you pillage us, please allow us to do the same. Because you see, if one person does it to you, it is abuse. It is a court case. It is rape. But, if you both do it, it is BDSM. Tuelewane. Mr. President, I congratulate you for fighting these institutions. But why are they giving us 10 years grace period? No. Africa should wake up and say, the same way you abused us, thou shalt be abused too. And then what we do is we take all the technologies and copy them, like the Indians and the Chinese did. This camera should be made in Kariako. I support. In fact, the people who do Kariobangi light industries and copy alcohol made by those white people, I support you, except don't put poisons in it. Go and put changa, it's authentic. Take changa, put that whiskey flavor, sell it to us. Why? Because we as Africans need to buy Africa and build Africa. There is no way I should be embarrassed about Muratina, and then I'm here taking Sisal juice in the name of what? Tequila. My friend, Sisal, Kamba, Sisal juice, unauziwa kwa bar. Don't we have Sisal in Mogotio? Aye, come on. Huh? Just because it is white, it is better. No. No, 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 no. We need to stand up for ourselves. This game needs to change. I totally support those coups happening in West Africa. Not the abolishment of democracy, we need democracy. Not the removal of presidents, we need presidents. But the removal of the Frenchman from West Africa, viva! I support that. Why? Because Africa needs to stand on its own 2 feet. And I told you, and I agree, twende kazi. This one is an equal playing game. BDSM ndio taongea. You do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So bring us your masses. We will tax them here. Visas. I need a visa to come to you. You don't need a visa to come to me. Because my country is not on earth and yours is where? On Mars. Hell no. Visas for every white person. In fact, we should have a white tax. You come here and your skin tone is lighter than my table, you pay tax. Kwende kabisa. Translation. Fursek, as they say in South Africa. Yes, I'm angry. I'm angry because you cannot be unfair to Africa for hundreds of thousands of years and then give us unfair rules when we're just about to start. You guys are the biggest polluters in the world. And then you want to tell us to be green when we've not developed like you. Come on. That's unfair. It is vastly unfair. So, Africa, forget copyright. Copy, let's build our own industries. By the way, buy all the technologies, their rockets, their ICT, their whatever it is. Buy it, replicate it, build our own scientists here, and let's make our own science. Number one. Number two, let's stop paying their debts. Let them pay reparations first. For our ancestors they enslaved, for stealing our resources, for colonizing us, let them pay every black person reparations. Because you took our strongest, you took our people. Third, and most important, no raw materials leaving Africa. This thing of coming and carrying a pile of soil and then sending it to China and then bringing it back as steel. Africa is the most resource-rich continent in the world. Congo trade with Kenya. Let Kenya be the steel manufacturing hub. Let Congo be the timber manufacturing hub. Let's be selfish Africans. Let's have Ubuntu for ourselves. Let's have some ego. Let's stand with our heads held high. I am tired of seeing Black Lives Matter protests. Why are we protesting? If you protest to be given a right, the person who gives you that right can take it away. Don't you know the CIA is on record for giving you crack cocaine so you can remain poor? Don't you know of the syphilis experiments where black people were given fake medications and lived with syphilis for 30, 40 years, died, went mad because American scientists decided they were good guinea pigs? How much abuse must the black race take? Honestly, our success is not going to come unless we take it. This thing, Africa is rising. My friend, rising where? If this was, and pardon my French, if this was an erection, it's the slowest erection I've ever seen. What are we rising to? Still poor. We're still poor. Why? Because the method we have used for 50 years plus is not working. You got independence in 1960. 60 years later, you're still doing the same nonsense, hoping it will succeed. Let me tell you how nonsensical this is. I had work to do. I was to travel within 24 hours from one part of Africa to the other. I swear, 4-hour flight. 4-hour flight. Do you know I couldn't make it? Because there was not a single flight that is direct from Kenya to a country that is 2 borders away. No direct flight. Oh, and I need to get a visa. As a black person, need a visa to visit black countries. You're mad. Yet, listen. That country has a rule where Chinese and Americans can go to that country and stay there indeterminately. You just show up, say, I'm a white person from America, and you can stay there as long as you want. And an African cannot stay in your raggedy ass, pimple-sized country. Do you know it is cheaper to call the United States of America sometimes than it is to call African countries? Because we have no pride. We have no sense of self. As a Christian, I propose that we change our sign for independence from this to this. I'm using the wrong finger because I think YouTube has an issue, right? Yeah. That's what we should do. Stick it to the West. Because they stuck it to us first. Tit for tat, fair game. Goose gander, fair game. So, Mr. President, please, don't stop. Kaza Kamba. Let's tell these white people, Africa is ours. And guess what? Africa can do business with Africa. White people, wish you all the best. Keep buying sunscreen because we need you to be cancer-free when you watch us succeed and finally rise. Cheers.